Hey everyone, Once Bitten here at the Battle Report. So, this is a game I played a week or so back. My Beast Herd's army versus an Ogre Khans army. This, I think, is one of the more important games I've played in a while, and hopefully by the end you will understand why. By way of background, my opponent is one I probably play more than any other person. He has a very, very successful tournament track record. The joke is that always the bride. He is always the bridesmaid, never the bride. He takes second place in every tournament. I think he won the last one, the last GT finally, but I swear I think every tournament he takes second place. Very, very solid player. But with this Beast Herds list, the first time I used it against him, he won, but it was really, I was just kind of dinking around. I think we both knew that my list was by far the stronger, and we've been playing it since, and my list has just been brutal against him. So he shows up with his list. He's prepared for the tournament. He's like, I think this list is a good counter to your Beast Herds list. And I said, let's go at it. Let's see. So he's proxying some stuff because his models are being painted. So all these little two-man wide monstrous cavalry things are Tusker cavalry. Like I said, they're just being painted. So he's got one that's facing sideways, protecting his flank, and he's got another one facing forward. He's got a unit of tribesmen. On the hill, he's got some bombardiers. Then he's got another unit of tribesmen with character. So he's got a battle standard bearer that's whatever. He's just kind of protected as normal. And then he has a level 3 or level 4. I know he has a magic item that gives him +1 to cast. And because of the lore attribute, I assume Path of Butchery, he always seems to have an extra +1 to cast. So it seems like most things he's casting +4, whereas I'm at a +1 to dispel. So pretty dominant magic phase. That's not a cannon on the left. He's got another unit of Tusker Cavalry, and then the bottom left, he's got a unit of mercenary veterans. They have poison and pistols, and they've got the flaming banner, which he pointed out in this under the current rules. You can basically decide whether or not you want to make it flaming. You can turn it on and off. So facing him, I've got 3 units of just small mongrels that I'm going to be ambushing. Everything else, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to play it straight up. I've got the pillager icon, so I'm just going to deploy my whole army first and vanguard up. I should be fast enough no matter what my opponent does. So I just wanted to try that. So here on the left, I've got a Gortak. I've got the Jabberwock vanguarding up. You can see my giant, a raiding chariot. I've got the Centaur character. This guy, he's the 18-inch mobile bolt thrower. Another chariot. Behind him, I've got a big block. I think 41. Wild horns, extra hand weapons, I think. And in there, I've got my battle standard bearer. And I have a Beast Lord. Now the BSB is just it doesn't really matter. He's whatever this game. But the Beast Lord has Argor's flayed hides. He's got +1 toughness, regen, and he's got like immunity to up ward versus flaming. I've also got my level 2 with the Path of Death with a scroll. And let's see, I didn't get around to showing. I also had a Razor Tusk, unit of Minotaurs, and another giant. So I vanguarded. I deployed first, so I knew I was going to get first with the vanguard. I knew that would allow me to rush up. The problem is I really can't rush up because his units, they've got a pretty decent little range they can strike at, and he doesn't really have weak units in here. It's kind of a good MMU build. He believes in having kind of heavy chaff, so you can see his 2 units of Tusker Cavalry, his 2-man units of Tusker Cavalry, he treats as kind of a chaff unit. So well, you can see how I move things. I'm trying to get my infantry and my monstrous infantry up as fast as possible. Otherwise, I'm back far enough that I think it's going to be, it's possible for him to charge me with stuff, but he'd have to have pretty long charges. So we go to Ogre Khans turn 1, and he makes all of his pretty long charges. So if you look at the top, his unit of Tusker Cavalry charges my Razor Tusk. I'm not too awful worried about that because I think if he kills him and reforms, my giant can charge him back, and if he overruns, my Minotaurs should be able to to charge him. Here on the left is got another unit of Tusker Cavalry and a unit of his tribesmen. Both charge my giant. They're going to make short work of him. And right off the bat, I'm thinking, I'm just really dumb. Like, I just didn't do anything clever or useful or anything. I just kind of threw stuff out there and allowed him to start picking me apart. So this is the right flank. There's that. Yeah, this giant might be able to stand up to one of those units, but maybe not. But with both of them, that's just going to be real tough. Then we go to shooting. So he's got his bombardiers on the hill. Then he's got his mercenary veterans. They pick on one monster each and take them both down to where they have a single wound remaining. So these guys are all but dead. And after combat, yeah, he overruns with the Tusker Cavalry to get a free charge into my chariot, and his other unit just reforms. And I want to say, I'm going to go back one. It's a real problem for me because I can't, the way we're playing these rules is my general's unit either can't see those tribesmen or they can't make the wheel to touch him, but it's an illegal charge. So he's sitting there just scot-free, like nothing I can do about it. And I can't charge the Tusker Cavalry because I definitely can't complete that wheel. My troops in the right are blocking me. And then over here, he kills the oh my gosh, the Razor Tusk. He overruns exactly 3 inches to where my giant just can't quite see him, and my Minotaurs either can't see him or can't complete the charge. But just perfectly to where he's safe too. There's nothing I can do about it. So a little bit frustrating. We go to Beast Herd's turn 2. So not a whole lot I can do. On the left, I decide to take my 2 1-wound monsters left and my Razor Tusk and throw them into this tribesman unit. Yeah, for the most part, it's just a suicide run, but these guys are going to be shot to death if I do anything else. And if they charge the mercenary veterans, they're going to get killed on the charge. So I'm hoping just to kind of get lucky. Yeah, what I really need to have any hope at all of doing anything at all is I need the Gortak to roll some 6s to wound, because not only does that do D3 wounds each, but he heals a wound. If he can heal some, he's still pretty tough to wound. All my guys, I mean, they're toughness 5, and then my Gortak's toughness 6, so they're not easy to wound, but my opponent just has so many attacks he can throw at him. So there's that, and I'm also kind of hoping he might fail a fear test. Let's see, over here I take my Centaur character, charge him in. On the charge, this dude is strength 6. Yeah, I think he's base strength 4, and he's got the Impaler, so it's a +2 strength on the charge. I'm just hoping he can do something there. And yeah, I don't know. Somehow, some way, he gets a couple wounds on that tribesman unit. Sorry about the weird picture here. But basically, we go to the magic phase, and yeah, I think that's what that was. That's a magic phase. So I cast a Lore of Death spell, and I do a couple wounds. I mean, there was nothing significant happening. I threw 3 dice at it, just trying to, force my opponent to make some kind of decision. And I miscast and lay a big template. I roll a 3 on the miscast table, lay a big template down, and put a wound on my spellcaster and kill, like, I don't know, just a bunch, 10 of these guys or something. And after combat, yeah, so my Gortak doesn't roll any 6s, and he takes a single wound and it gets killed. My Jabberwock does not take a wound. My Razor Tusk, I think, it takes some wounds, but he's still alive, probably just 1 wound left. And so I'm not positive. I think I won combat, and so he has -1 leadership because of the lore attribute to Path of Death. Oh, that's what I was doing. I cast a meaningless spell just so I get the lore attribute off. And then the Jabberwock causes another -1, and because I cause terror and therefore I cause fear, there's another -1, or maybe I just cause fear, it doesn't matter. So he's steadfast, but he's on a -3. So he's on a 6 rerollable, and he makes it. So, I felt like I just didn't have any good choices to make, so I figured this taking this chance was the best I had, and it just didn't work. Again, I don't know why these pictures are all upside down. Sorry about that. But basically, my Centaur character comes in and kills one of the Tusker cavalry, which was great. And there's another wound on him as well, but he, with all his impact hits, kills my chariot. And win or lose, I don't remember, we both stuck. So we go to Ogre Khans turn 2. So, yeah, the Jabberwock who's in combat in the top left, yeah, he gets countercharged by just a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, the tribesmen. Oh, one thing I didn't notice in the picture. One thing I had done is I took my general out of my the bunker unit, and he was just standing behind the Tusker cavalry. I wanted his guys to charge me, because I just want to see how he can stand up to that. So, and you know, if he can stand up to it, it's nice to have another unit on the table. There's just more options for him. So my opponent said, yeah, let's see how it works. So he's just going to have a ton of attacks on my general, but my general's, you know, toughness 6 with regen. So he's going to have to roll 6s to wound, and I'm going to save half of them. You know, could go either way. Yeah, that's not. There's only one way this one's going to go. And so his bombardiers in the hill, they open up on my minotaurs and do, what, 6 wounds to them. And yeah, after combat, I think with the general, I just don't remember if he wounded him or not. But basically, he won combat, and no, he didn't. He didn't win combat. I don't know who won combat. It doesn't matter though, because we all just stick. So he couldn't get any wounds on my general, I don't think. And you know, we're just sticking around. Easily killed everything in the combat here on the left. There we go. There's my general sticking around. The problem is, now that I'm not charging, my Centaur hero no longer has that +2 strength, and he can't do anything against the armor save, the 2-up armor save of this Tusker cavalry. So they're just sitting there. Now we go to Beast Herds turn 3. So the horde of wild horns charges into the flank of the Tusker cavalry. I would love to overrun into his tribesman unit, but that's just not going to happen. Let's get a closer look up here. Yeah, the Minotaurs charge. They can only clip the tribesman unit, but they're going to charge there. And on my last turn, all 3 units of my mongrels ambush behind his line. So this turn, I triple charge his bombardier unit. So, I mean, these guys suck in combat. But I'm thinking, I've got not quite 30, but pretty 25-ish attacks on them, possibly re-rolling to hit. I need 5s to wound. I have a charge, I have a banner, I've got a rear and a flank. That should be enough against these guys. It's not, by the way. For those of you keeping track at home, 3 units of mongrels don't do anything to 6 bombardiers. I might have done a wound. That was very frustrating. That was hugely frustrating. They just bounce. It was awful. So over here, yeah, the wild horns make short work of the Tusker cavalry, but they can't overrun into the tribesman unit because my general's in the way. General and Minotaurs go in. They do a fair number of wounds. They win combat, but those guys are stubborn, they're steadfast, and they stick. So Ogre's turn 3. So his second unit of tribesmen charges into the Minotaurs, the one with all his characters in it, lined up so that if they do win, he can overrun to the giant. His mercenary veterans charge into my wild horns. Yeah, he's going to win that. He tried to charge the rear of him with another. I'll show you that in a second. So there's that. That's going to hurt. He tried charging with this unit of Tusker cavalry. This is the one that charged my Razor Tusk early in the game, and he's been kind of trying to come around my flanks, and I keep on just moving my chariot just to threaten him, like, you know, I'm going to get a charge. Well, he failed this charge, and so I can at least charge him on my turn. There's this. It's just so much combat res. I think my Minotaurs are tough, but they don't, you know, they're only toughness 4, so they get wounded easily enough. And impact hits, of course, are very helpful. And he takes this unit of Tusker cavalry here on the left and charges the flank of that unit. This is overkill. He didn't need to do that. And after combat, yeah, everything went wrong. So my general failed to wound. I think he took a wound in return. All the combat res against the Minotaurs was crazy. So he won combat all the way around and then caught everything, including an overrun to my giant. Um, yeah, just wiped everything. At this point, I was like, okay, yeah, I know it's only been 3 turns, but we can keep playing, but there's nothing to be proven. I mean, everything's going to be dead. The only thing I've left on the table, really, that giant's going to die. I've got a chariot. I can charge his Tusker cavalry. If I win that, that's all I've got left. So we just called it. So, yeah, that was a good just lesson, and you got to try a little harder. I mean, I never let my opponents win, but I certainly went into this cocky, saying, yeah, I'm gonna just deploy everything first, right in the middle, vanguard up, and everything will just go well for me, and nothing did. So, okay, that's fine. We'll see how it goes the next game with the Beast Herds. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.